Right now, inside a museum in Berlin, there is a fossil sitting in a glass case. It is 150 million years old. It has feathers, it has wings, it also has the teeth and clawed hands of a dinosaur. It is neither one thing nor the other. It is the moment between. Scientists call it Archaeopteryx. Most visitors walk past it without stopping, but if you look at it long enough, you start to feel something uncomfortable. The line between one animal and the next is not a line at all. It is a blur. And the question of what came first, animals or humans, turns out to be far stranger than any answer you were given in school. Let's start at the beginning, the actual beginning. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. For the first billion years, nothing lived here at all. The planet was molten rock, toxic gas, and asteroid impacts. Then, around 3.8 billion years ago, in warm, shallow water, something happened that has never been fully explained. A collection of chemicals organized itself into a structure that could copy itself. The first living cell. It was not an animal, it was not a plant, it was not anything with a name yet. It was a single strand of chemistry that had figured out how to make more of itself. For the next 2 billion years, that is all there was. Single cells, invisible, silent, covering the oceans, doing nothing a human would recognize as living. Then, around 600 million years ago, something changed. Cells started working together. Instead of each cell surviving alone, groups of cells began to specialize. One type handled movement, another handled digestion, another handled sensing the environment. The result was the first multicellular animals, soft, simple, boneless creatures that crawled across the seafloor in the dark. We call this period the Ediacaran. The animals that lived then looked nothing like anything alive today. Some resembled fronds, some resembled discs, some left no recognizable structure at all, just impressions in ancient mud that tell us something was there, but nothing about what it was. They had no eyes, no mouths, no brains, but they were animals, the first ones, and they were here 540 million years before the first human drew breath. Then came one of the strangest weeks in the history of life on Earth. Geologists call it the Cambrian explosion. It lasted roughly 20 million years, a blink in geological time, and during it, almost every major body plan that has ever existed on Earth appeared for the first time. Eyes, shells, legs, jaws, fins, claws. The basic architecture of every animal alive today, including yours, was drafted during this single burst of biological invention. Nobody fully understands why it happened so fast. The leading theories involve a rise in oxygen levels, a change in ocean chemistry, or the invention of predation itself. The moment the first animal ate another animal, triggering an arms race of bodies that has never stopped. What is certain is this. By the time the Cambrian was over, the ocean was full. Fish appeared around 500 million years ago. The first land plants appeared around 470 million years ago. Then, following the plants onto land, the first amphibians, around 375 million years ago. Every step of the way, animals came first, millions of years before anything resembling a human existed. Then came the event that made us possible. 66 million years ago, a rock roughly 10 kilometers wide hit the Earth near what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The impact released energy equivalent to 1 billion nuclear bombs. The sky filled with debris. Fires burned across continents. The temperature dropped. Photosynthesis stopped. The food chain collapsed from the bottom up. Within a few thousand years, 3/4 of all species on Earth were gone, including every non-bird dinosaur that had dominated the planet for 165 million years. The survivors were small, mostly nocturnal, mostly burrowing. They had survived by eating seeds and insects in the dark, while the giants above them ruled the daylight. When the giants were gone, these small survivors came out. They were the earliest mammals, and within 10 million years of the extinction, they had diversified into every ecological role the dinosaurs had vacated. The world was suddenly open, and mammals rushed into every corner of it. Among those early mammals were the primates. The first primates appeared around 55 million years ago, small, tree-dwelling, with forward-facing eyes that gave them depth perception good enough to judge the distance between branches. They lived in the forest canopies of a warm, wet world. They ate fruit and insects. They were nobody's idea of a world-dominating species. For the next 50 million years, they stayed in the trees. Then, around 6 million years ago, the climate shifted. Forests shrank, grasslands expanded, and a group of primates that had been living at the forest edge found themselves with a choice. Stay in the shrinking trees or come down. Some of them came down, and they began, slowly and imperfectly, to walk. The first members of our genus, Homo, appeared roughly 2.8 million years ago in Africa. They were not impressive by any obvious measure. Smaller than many animals around them, slower than most. No claws, no venom, teeth too weak to compete with the real predators. What they had was a brain that was slightly too large for any immediate practical purpose, and hands that could grip a rock hard enough to use it as a tool. For 1,000,000 years, those hands made the same basic stone tools. Scrapers, choppers, hand axes, the same designs over and over, generation after generation, with almost no variation. Researchers looking at early stone tool sites have found hundreds of thousands of identical tools spread across thousands of miles and hundreds of thousands of years. For 1,000,000 years, nothing changed. And then, very suddenly, in evolutionary terms, everything changed. Around 300,000 years ago, anatomically modern humans appeared. Homo sapiens. Us. The brain was larger, the face was flatter, the hands were more precise, and something had shifted in the cognitive architecture that we still do not fully understand. These humans made tools that varied by region. They buried their dead with objects, they made art, they crossed open water, they moved into environments no human had survived before, deserts, frozen tundra, tropical coastlines, and they adapted to all of them within a few thousand years. Every other animal adapts to a new environment over thousands of generations. Biological evolution is slow. A species grows thicker fur. It develops different coloring. It changes physically. It takes hundreds of thousands of years. Humans adapted with clothing, fire, and shelter, with tools and knowledge passed between individuals. A human could walk into an Arctic environment and survive, not because evolution had changed their body, but because another human had taught them how. This is new. Nothing in 3.8 billion years of life on Earth had done it this way before. So here is the answer to the question. Animals came first by roughly 540 million years. The first cells came 3.8 billion years ago. The first multicellular animals came 600 million years ago. The first vertebrates, 500 million years ago. The first mammals, 200 million years ago. The first primates, 55 million years ago. Humans, anatomically modern humans, arrived 300,000 years ago. In a 4.5 billion year story, that is the last 0.006%. If you compress the entire history of life on Earth into a single calendar year, complex animals appeared in mid-November. Dinosaurs ruled from December 10th to December 26th. Modern humans arrived at 11:36 p.m. on December 31st. Everything you know, every language, every city, every war, every song ever written, every person you have ever loved. 11 minutes before midnight, the animals were here first. They were here for a very long time before us. And the only reason we are here at all is because 66 million years ago, something fell from the sky and cleared the way. We did not inherit the Earth from the animals. We inherited it from the rock that killed them.